What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode, what is it, 5? Is it 5 weeks of this that we've done so far?
I think so, yeah.
I think 5. All summer, all slashers. The cruel summer slashback, Uncle Bill. We're back at it again, but we must discuss a big milestone that happened over the last couple of days. It's sort of a big deal, right?
Yeah, so we were doing just like a hangout stream the other night, and I didn't realize this. I didn't know what the hell was going on, but at the same time, Garrett was doing like a mega fundraiser drive, like like at church and stuff like that to raise money. Except he was raising.
He was doing car washes and stuff.
Yeah. So the funny thing about it was people kept making me all this like random shit. At first they were like, "He's gonna get on there and make fun of you." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then they were like, "Oh, he's on there like trying to drive, subs over there." So apparently he had gotten on there and posted like a fake kind of headline to get people's attention. And then when he got people in there, he was getting subs. So that night we ended up getting over 10,000 subs.
Yeah. So we're cruising, rock and rolling along now. I'm not satisfied with 10,000 because there's people that suck fucking ass that have way more than 10,000, and we need to at least beat all the people that suck fucking ass.
I mean, I'm happy to get to that point because it seemed like it took us forever to get to that point. But I agree though, man. Like there's a bunch of channels that have like way more views than that are awful. And I feel like that,
I feel like that we're not totally terrible, that we deserve more. So tell your family, friends, and neighbors the climb to 20,000 hopefully is not going to be as long as the climb to 10,000. Otherwise, we'll be 60 years old by that point.
Yeah, I think I'll fucking give up if it takes that long to get 20,000. Jesus Christ, that's like 3 years.
Yeah.
And
yeah. To be fair, too, we're not exactly, I don't think we could ever be that mainstream. So for a channel like ours to get 10,000 plus subscribers is a pretty big deal. Most of those other channels are like, "Oh, I love this. This is my favorite movie. Look, I saw this in the theaters. We had so much fun watching this. This was great."
I really enjoyed the performances and I liked the camera work. It was a lot of fun to watch it.
Let's look at how nice and shiny this fucking slip cover is that it
Look
came
here.
out recently.
I'll tell you what I did with it. I put it in Kevlar encoded glass so no one can shoot through it with a gun or a tank.
It's bulletproof.
Yeah. On a serious note though, like I'm pretty sure we can get 20,000. Like even with our accents, like we are a fucking institution that knows what they're talking about. And I feel like with those two qualities and the fact that we also don't bullshit around with people,
We're charming motherfuckers too.
I don't know if we're charming or not, but I know that we ain't full of shit, which is
think
at least
we are.
one good quality.
Big shout out to our buddy Ryan Atkins, Tom Atkins' great grandson, going hog wild at the Slaughterhouse. Get this, Uncle Bill.
Uh-huh.
Lunch today with Ryan Radkins at the legendary El Rodeo Grande in Prestonsburg, Kentucky. We got some tequila and something sweet at El Rodeo Grande. And we got a long history there. And a big shout out to Ryan for buying my lunch. If I knew he was buying lunch, I was going to buy it. But if I knew he was going to buy it, I would have gotten a lot more to eat.
He thought you were going to buy it, so you got like the minimum. Like,
I got the lunch.
You got like a water and some chips and salsa.
I did. I got water with lemon and a lunch. What was it? Not a polo bandito, but a chicken and vegetable. Chicken and vegetables.
Did you get any
Santa Fe
or something sweet?
No. I would have though if I'd known he was paying.
Be like, bring me the bottle.
Bring me that big margarita that's about like 40 ounces or whatever that you could. It's a fish bowl basically.
Yeah, that really is hilarious how big that fucking thing is. They bring it out there, it's like the size of a damn punch bowl.
Yeah, you could really get fucked up on that. Tripped over a peach water. I'm drinking. What do you got there, Uncle Bill? You showing me. You son of a bitch. Are you the reason that Paintsville Walmart has no fucking peach drink?
Yeah, I bought two cases of it. So me and you will now be fighting over peach drink.
Buddy, I've got connections. I've started to have relationships with these people that stock shit at Walmart.
I really only bought it like because I'm trying to like quit drinking caffeine altogether. Like occasionally I would drink Coke and stuff like that, but I'm trying not to anymore. So that was the only thing that did not have caffeine in.
I got you.
Even remotely appealing from that Walmart.
No caffeine, but it does have the aspartame, and sometimes people think that's worse than consuming poison or something. I don't know.
It basically is poison because you lose your fucking mind. You'll be out in the street. Like you'll be like that woman from The Visit. She just walking around. Hey.
The show tonight, though, is going to be a fun show because I think that there's at least one slasher in this batch that people are familiar with. So we're taking a look. Now, these are two kind of mid to late 80s slasher movies and also films that we have never, ever reviewed before on DEADPIT. That's the main criteria. All slasher movies, right? And movies that we have never covered because, hey, this is shit we haven't talked about. Don't like to repeat ourselves. Thing, though.
I can't believe we never covered Slaughterhouse because I know we talk about that movie in passing a lot just because of how silly it is and the main premise of the movie, which I can't wait to get into. But I can't believe we've never reviewed it.
Well, a lot of the times when we would review stuff on the DEADPIT show, it would be in association with like said DVD that came out. The DVD for Slaughterhouse came out in 1999. It was one of the very early DVDs.
Wow.
And then nothing else came out again since, until the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray, which came out about, 6 or 7 years ago at this point. It's one of the big ones that really got their name out there a little bit. But, we're going to be talking about Slaughterhouse from 1987.
So I guess that is how it falls, isn't it? Chronologically, it's weird because Nightmare Beach looks like it was made in about 1983, but it was actually made in like 1989.
Dude, and I told you this, I haven't talked to you about the movie because you just recently watched the movie for the first time.
Yeah.
And then I'd watched it again, well, really for the first time as well. I thought I maybe had seen it, but fuck no, because I would have remembered.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I've never seen
Yeah,
that movie,
I would have
actually.
remembered this one for sure. And I'll just say this right now before we get into the reviews. I think we're going to sell a lot of copies of this movie, showing you guys and describing some of the crap that goes on. Both of these movies, really.
So, I mean, these are two completely different style slashers, but like they're both ridiculous in their own ways. And Slaughterhouse is ridiculous for like 100 different reasons, but my favorite reason being like the main character in it, Buddy Bacon.
Yeah. So we'll get started with Slaughterhouse here in just a second. I did want to point out, somebody had mentioned up here, I don't even know if I can find it, that they keep up with the show on Spotify.
Yeah.
Well, I did want to let everybody know that we are doing weekly updates to the podcast feed that has all of the previous episodes for Summer Slashback, the Cruel Summer Slashback. So Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, whatever the hell you listen to, it should all be on those.
Yeah. Look at that. It's also on, don't forget to check it out on AOL Instant Messenger. You can view it on there, as well as you can get it on Netscape Navigator. Try that out.
The Real Player live broadcasts.
Yeah. Try to, you can also you can download it on multiple different.
What's funny is those, like the
Napster
Real Player, I'm sure like in some form that still exists. Some of this stuff surprisingly still exists, like MySpace and shit like it. Netscape Navigator, unfortunately, doesn't exist in any form.
What is that one thing? LimeWire that we always use. Does that still exist?
I don't know. What about BearShare?
BearShare, holy shit.
QuickTime is still a thing, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, we'll go ahead and get this show on the road, Bulls.
So, I want to show this off real quick, because this is one of my favorite additions of any movie. Like when you talk about packaging, anyway, which is the Vinegar Syndrome Slaughterhouse. Like,
that's very sought after.
Yeah, you open it up and it's got like the Blu-ray in it. Oh, look at that.
Buddy has an axe to grind.
Which is a pretty killer Blu-ray too. They did a really good job on this release. This has been sold out forever, but I got it forever ago.
I have the standard Vanilla Horror Edition right here. Slaughterhouse,
yeah.
Which is still available. I don't think this is out of print. I think you can still get it on the Vinegar Syndrome site.
I think so too. It seems like I saw it on there.
Yeah. And it's a really good edition too. It's got a lot of special features in it. The transfer on this thing was really great. It's a big improvement over the DVD. So, but I mean, the movie itself was a big, like around the time when we first started getting into movies and all that, this was a big video store staple. Slaughterhouse was. I remember seeing the poster art, the cover, which the cover is kind of a infamous cover, although it's another one that rips off the Madman poster, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it does in a way. And somebody was saying, like, does that look like anybody from around here? And I was thinking that looks like about 30% of the population from around here, actually.
Yeah, a good casting job here with Joe Barton, I think was the guy's name.
Yeah, who also was the biker guy that gets run over like 1,000 times in Blood Diner, which is the other thing that I remember.
And dude, I was looking it up. I thought for sure he was the guy that played Mean Gene in Meatballs 3, but that was a different guy.
He looks a lot like that guy.
Yeah, they look almost identical. It's a different actor, though.
There's a lot of guys that kind of look like that, though. Back in the day, they have like character actors that were like that. They were playing bikers usually.
So we'll go ahead and get started, though. Slaughterhouse, 1987. Director Rick Roessler, who, man, if you watched any of the special features, does that motherfucker love to talk about Slaughterhouse?
I didn't watch any of the special features, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure he does, yeah.
But, yeah, the movie is... I mean, I think that they were inspired as well by like Texas Chainsaw Massacre quite a bit, but it's also kind of a tongue in cheek, one of those sort of movies. It's kind of like they've got the hog and pig puns throughout it that they're just throwing out there, you know, to kind of be funny, like you're pig headed and shit like that.
There's one part where he goes, after the dad scene that he kills somebody, he goes, "You've gone hog wild, buddy."
Buddy, you plumb gone hog wild.
But I tell you what, it reminded me of a lot was Motel Hell.
Mhm.
Like, because the old guy, just going on about like how, this meat and how he was this expert butcher and all this stuff. It just reminded me of the Rory Calhoun character in Motel Hell, where he's always going on about like his sausages and all that shit.
Right. But I mean, I guess to talk about the plot of the movie, it is set in a pig farm, pretty much pig farm country on Slaughterhouse Road. And the county is taking Lester Bacon, that's Buddy's paw,
Yep.
property, the pig farm, the slaughterhouse, all that. That's their plan, right? And Lester's mentally disturbed son, Buddy, he's got problems. You can see that from early on. Like there's a opening, like pre-title murder scene with Buddy and a couple of stupid teens.
Yeah. He's always like in the hog pen, like semi molesting the hogs.
Right.
You
And
know
he doesn't speak either. He just squeals and oinks and shit.
Yep.
So the dad recently discovers that Buddy has killed and hung up these two teens. And surprisingly, he's kind of okay with it. He was like, okay, you can kill, but only kill the ones that are trying to take their property.
Right.
So this, of course, brings Buddy, hog wild. Like we were saying, he got what was the meat cleaver thing that's his weapon, his main weapon in the movie. And it's kind of like an axe, I guess, but it's a meat cleaver. And Buddy, like, I love the disgusting shit that they do with Buddy in this movie too, where he looks like he smells like garbage and shit, pretty much. I mean, like legit. Like that doesn't look like makeup. I don't know what he did, but he looks nastier than hell.
Well, there's one scene where he always looks sweaty and just like that he's dirty and sweaty and like his teeth are rotted out for real, though. They don't look like any kind of fake teeth that I've seen like that. I'm sure they are, like they were.
Well, and he's shaking his old dirty and greasy hair off like he's a damn dog or something. And there's even spots where the slinging filth and shit is going on the lead girl in the movie, which is interesting.
Well, the great part about this movie to me is that it's like a black comedy as well as like a horror film. It's definitely not meant to be taken seriously at all, because he just squeals like a pig throughout the entire movie. And like the dad is insane. The kid is supposed to be like, mentally disabled and can't really do anything except squeal like a pig. And it's just like, Buddy Bacon is almost like a child. Like that's the way that he behaves in the film. He just a psychopathic child, but still like a kid nonetheless. Like he just kind of like run around playing with these people and, before he kills them and all this stuff. I just like movies like that. Like I like movies that are like dark horror comedies.
And
like
it seems
that,
like these are
slashers.
all these are products of the 80s though too. Like they didn't really make movies like this past the 80s. Like this one in Blood Diner, I mean, oddly enough, because he's in Blood Diner as well. They're very similar kind of movies, really. You would almost think it was the same production team, at least, working on these movies. But, I mean, they didn't have a gigantic budget with Slaughterhouse. A lot of it, if you listen to the special features and everything from the director, they talk about them just using stuff at their disposal that they had on the property, which kind of looked out for them quite a bit. But man, you would never be able to tell, because the production quality on this is all like, I think that how they put it together was great. It looks, I mean, the video and everything, they shot it on film. You wouldn't really know it was just more or less an independent movie.
No, well, The budget is like $100,000 from what I can
Mhm.
remember. Like, so that's nothing, man. For like the '80s, that was like super, super cheap for those type of movies, and it looks really good. Like, it looks legitimately like any other like slasher film from that time period. The performances are fine. Like, I mean, the kids can't act for shit. And did you know the one guy? This is something I looked up to. The guy that's the cop, not the sheriff, but just the cop that
Dave.
yeah, gets his arm or his hand chopped off or
That's
whatever.
another guy they're looking for the entire fucking movie too.
He
Where's Dave
he
at?
that dude wrote or at least helped write Basketball. I was like, what?
Really?
He was a writer. He became a writer, and
Hmm.
then he wrote a couple different movies, but that was like the most notable one. And I was like, that fucking guy, because he's just like he plays like a dumbass kind of hick, you know,
Mhm.
sheriff deputy in the film.
Yeah. And it like there's we were talking about vanilla horrors earlier. The whole acting cast is a bunch of vanilla horrors, really.
Yeah,
Like the lead in it, her character's name is Liz Borden. How
yeah,
creative is that?
Lizzie Borden. Yeah,
And she's an interesting looking girl. Like I don't want to be mean or anything, but she did not look like your typical leading, like, 80s bimbo girl from a movie. And I looked it up and she's actually a stunt woman that did a lot of stunt work for many years. But I think up to this point, she was trying to be an actress. And the more that you look at it, I mean, you can tell like she's got that chiseled, like very muscular looking
yeah.
look to her. But she's a pretty terrible actress, to be honest. She didn't do
Everybody in this
that
movie's
well.
pretty terrible except for like the people you see the most, which is Buddy Bacon and his Paul.
Yeah, the guy that played the dad, the Lester Bacon, was pretty good. I
Yeah.
think he was good. But the other characters, the friends in it, I wrote these down because they're so goddamn generic. Annie, Skip, and Buzz.
Well, that's one thing about the movie that I'll say too, though, is that not only are the characters generic, but the death scenes are kind of generic too. I mean, like there's one scene where the guy gets his hand cut off, the cop does, and he just dies from that, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's what I wrote. I was
And
like,
like,
how could you die from your hand getting cut off?
I mean,
Like,
I guess you could bleed out, but like he dies pretty much in like 5 seconds, so I don't know how that works.
right.
Anyway, then the other scenes are mostly off camera. Like you'll see like his cleaver going up, and then it'll hack somebody, and blood will fly onto something. And then there's one where he like shoves a guy into a meat grinder, but you don't see any of this stuff. It's just kind of like it's
In-
implied.
Interestingly enough, like in the opening credits, they have like this weird credit sequence where they're filming like it's a real life slaughterhouse and it's real life, they're dismembering these pigs and shaving them and everything else. And it's disgusting, baby.
I hate shit like that. Yeah.
I do too, actually. Like, I am not a fan of that, but they had like goofy type music playing over top of it too. So it was kind of weird.
That's usually how the Italians try to like soften things up. Where
Try to
they'll show
lighten
the
things
god
up.
awfulest real shit, but then they'll put like goofy music over it.
So, I mean,
Is it
towards
kinda-
the end, like, I guess there's two of the teens that are killed off early in the movie for
Yeah.
fucking with
I
Buddy's
think
pigs.
I don't remember if those two teams were connected to the other four, but like
I
yeah, at
think
the
they
beginning,
were.
at the
Yeah.
beginning, they're at like Lover's Lane or whatever, and he just randomly kills them. And then that's what triggers the dad into thinking like, okay, so you already killed these people. Fuck it. Let's just go after these people that want to steal our property. So the main three people he's trying to get revenge on are the sheriff, there's a lawyer, I think, and then like who's the other guy? Like a competitor guy that's into meat or something like that he wants to like kill
Mhm.
as well. Like so those three guys are kind of lured one by one to the slaughterhouse, and then Buddy Bacon does whatever to him. But my favorite scene in the movie, for some fucking reason, is the scene where after he kills the cop, he puts on his shirt, like the
And it
badge and
tears it
everything.
all to hell. Like the
Yeah,
shirts.
he can just kind of get it. It's kind of like a vest, and like gets his nightstick and everything, and then gets in the cop car and just goes like joyriding around, and he picks up the fucking radio, the CB or whatever, and he just starts oinking into it.
Yeah.
To the dispatcher. And I just died laughing at that because that's just such a great kind of character.
And then
thing.
like a woman stops him or something thinking that he's Dave, I guess.
Yeah, it was Dave's girlfriend, I think.
Okay.
That was yeah.
So, lots of fun stuff in this though, just goofy, like late 80s horror comedy stuff. Oddly enough, like the guy that plays Buddy Bacon, though, even though he doesn't really have any speaking parts, he actually does a fantastic job with what he's given.
Yeah,
I mean, he's totally believable.
The best part of the movie. I wrote down a list of things that he does in the movie that I just thought was fucking hilarious. So, he grunts and squeals like a pig. He eats dog food out of a can, like in one scene,
right?
Which is great. He hates pussy. Like, there's one scene for like he's in there with the pig.
He's getting ready to take the cleaver to the cat.
Yeah. I'm like, why? Like, what? He plays with hogs and like caresses them. I don't even know how to explain that scene, but he's in like the hog pen and he's like caressing this hog, like, the ears.
Like he's getting ready to give it some bacon.
Literally. It's just so many great scenes with him for sure.
Real quick here, and we'll get back to Slaughterhouse. Ali Hamoud with a $5 super chat. Congrats on 10,000 subs, guys. You're my favorite horror podcast, along with CHH, outside his annoying co-host. Keep up the great work, UB and CK. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for the super chat. What I think is funny, too, is how the teens end up back at the pig farm. And this is just so random and so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, girls, I bet you $10 you can't spend the whole night at the pig farm.
I think it's so stupid. Isn't there like a subplot, too, where they want to shoot a horror video?
Right. And they have these
what the
shitty...
fuck does that mean? Does it mean like a horror, like music video, or a horror?
I have no idea.
Actual movie? Like, what are they doing?
I have no idea. You can't, they're only filming stuff that one, like literally one scene. She has the camera and is filming like stupid shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he just completely forgot about that or what, but, like this movie holds up for me though. I had fun with it still. It'd been many years since I'd seen it. This is the first time I'd watched the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray of it actually. So, if anybody's out there is interested, I think this is still out. And if you've never seen it before and you're a fan of the 80s slashers, this is definitely one you'll want to check out.
Yeah, it's just one of those slasher films where you've got like the main lead being this big oafish kind of character that kills people. So, I mean, if you kind of like that style of movie with like dark comedy, then this is like one that you would probably like. I don't revisit this movie a lot, to be honest. Like, I mean, I think it's a good movie, a good slasher film and all, but it's just not, there's something about it. It's probably the lack of gore and stuff like that. There's just not, I don't know. It doesn't keep me coming back and watching it or anything like that. I do appreciate it though, for what it is, which is a crazy goofy movie.
The ending of the movie too, they leave it open for a sequel. And it's not really a happy ending to the movie too, which I'm a fan of those slasher movies like that, without giving it away. So that was 1987. Last fall, 2023, they had completed Slaughterhouse 2, Uncle Bill. So finally, we're going to get to see a continuation after, it was 35 years or whatever it's been, 36 years at this point. Are you excited for Slaughterhouse 2?
Sure. I mean, I guess. It's not the same guy, right? That guy's dead, isn't he? The guy that played Buddy Bacon.
Right. I think they're going to say it's his brother.
Okay. I mean, I'm about as excited for that as I am for Mutilator 2.
Right. And they're both made. Mutilator 2 is made as well.
Yeah, I don't know if I give that much of a shit, to be honest.
McClure is asking, will we put Slaughterhouse over Berserker?
No, I wouldn't. And I'll tell you why. One reason alone is butt flowers.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch Berserker again. I like this quite a bit, actually. I ain't gonna lie. Bronson Wright Wolf, $5 super chat. Thank you, man. I just wanted to let you guys know that it would have been Robin Williams' 73rd birthday today. He was a very talented and generous man. He was a legend. For sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't deny that. I think it's interesting, too. And it just tells you, like, I mean, with mental health and stuff, nobody ever knows. You get a guy that his entire life was committed to making people laugh. And the way that he ended his life is just, nobody would have ever in a million years expected that, you know?
It's funny because I keep hearing stories now that, like, even on set, when he wasn't doing scenes, he was pretty miserable. So I don't know, like, from other people that have worked with him, like, they would say that, like, I mean, he was just a very kind of sad, off to himself kind of person. He wasn't mean to anybody or anything. Like, from all accounts, like, he was really nice to other people and really helpful to other actors. But I mean, he was just like doing whatever he did took something out of him. Like each time that he had to do it. And then he kind of had to like recover in some way. Plus the cocaine probably didn't help him.
Well, didn't he have some sort of wasn't he diagnosed with some sort of disease right before?
It's like Dewey something dementia. I can't remember the exact name of it, but yeah.
I did want to let people know though, before we get into the second movie, we have a poll up, bulls, and this is a poll that everybody needs to hop on over there on the YouTube page.
When you say that,
which film is the better slasher film tonight? Slaughterhouse is winning at 57%. Nightmare Beach is at 43%. So we're going to try to figure out something cool to do the last show of the year that we do this, where we put all the movies up on a gigantic poll for all you guys to get on top of and just fondle and enjoy and vote for whatever the best slasher of the summer is. How's that sound, Bulls? Does that sound good? Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
So that's Slaughterhouse. It's out from Vinegar Syndrome. Check it out. I think it's online. You could probably stream it. Probably.
It's on Tubi. Actually, the transfer there is not that bad either. Like, a lot of times Tubi's transfers fucking suck, but that one is fairly decent. That must be the Vinegar Syndrome one.
So, I mean, this next one is a first time watch, I think, for you and I both, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but like for me, I think the big turnoff why I didn't want to watch it is it had John Saxon in it.
I wasn't that like, but I mean, John Saxon is awful in it. It was just the fact that it looks so generic. Like, when you just look at the cover of it, like it does
kind of look generic. And like, it's another one of those Italian movies with John Saxon in it.
Here's the cover, right? Like, so you can't really get shit out of that whatsoever. And it just looks, it's not appealing whatsoever.
And the name of it isn't really the best either. Like, it doesn't come across like a slasher movie with a name called Nightmare Beach.
No. And Kino put this out recently. It came out in 80. It says 88 on here, and it says 89 on the internet. So who knows which one's accurate. But the funny thing about it to me is it was directed by two different people. So there's an argument about this too. So I'm not entirely sure who's right or who's wrong, but Umberto Lenzi was hired to direct this film. He says that he got into it with the people, like the producers and things like that, and wanted to leave, but they kept him on and as like a what do you call it? Like a advisor.
Yeah.
To help with the movie. And that the guy, Harry Kilpatrick, or I'm sorry, Harry.
He's a real guy.
He's a real guy. Yeah. Who like I always thought that was just, his pseudonym or something, but like that's a real guy.
And this was an Italian production made in the US. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Made in Florida.
Italy and America. So
made in Florida. I think the beach was Manatee Beach
Yeah.
which I noticed some signs there, and I looked it up. That's a real beach in Florida. So, but yeah, I had never seen this movie before. I recall the alternate title for it was Welcome to Spring Break. I do
Yeah.
recall that VHS back in the day, but that's one that I'd never seen.
So when you talk about this movie, though, the best way that I can tell you this movie to describe this movie is if not the 1980s had a movie that was just like the summation of the 80s, this is that movie. Like everything about this movie.
And the trailer helps quite a bit. It helps give you an
Yeah.
idea of what it is.
Yeah. I mean, just like from the beginning, it's like everybody's on like summer beach, like spring break kind of thing. There's a bunch of like, titty. I don't even know what that is really. It's not really a swimsuit contest. It's just like a titty
Wet,
showing contest. Like,
wet t-shirt contest.
but they don't even have these. They just like
It leads to
their
more
tits
titties being shown.
yeah,
Yeah.
just hanging out.
Yeah.
And while all this is going on, though, of course, there's a slew of like killings that are happening at this beach. And at the beginning of the film, there's this biker gang that's led by this guy named Diablo who gets executed. And when he gets executed, he says he's coming back to get revenge on all these people. And
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, there he is. And so everybody is like, oh shit, like maybe it's him. Like maybe he's like the one that's like coming back to finally actually get his revenge. And there is a coroner played by Michael Park, he's not really Michael Parking it up in this movie. He plays it very straight. John Saxon's the sheriff.
He plays extremely straight.
That's doesn't act like he knows
that's all
what
he
he's
can
saying.
do. Yeah. The biker gang in this too are named the Demons, and they use the same logo as the Demons movies for their logo and their jackets. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't notice that actually.
Yeah, it's the same exact like Yellow Demons logo, font and everything or whatever. And they're vowing after their leader was murdered, electric chair was killed, that they're going to take over the beach. And but these murders are happening at the same time by this masked biker. He's got the helmet over it, very much like a Night School, actually.
Yeah, exactly like with the other movie we just reviewed.
Yeah, so nobody knows who this guy is, who's electrocuting people in a variety of different ways, sometimes with his bike, sometimes with other shit. Some pretty gruesome death scenes in this, too.
Well, that's what I love about the Italians, though, is that, like, even though the shit looks fake, like really, really fake in a lot of instances in this movie, it's still practical, and it's still, like, a lot better than anything, that uses CG. And they go all out with the practical makeup effects. Like they make full body kind of, casts of people and set them on fire and melt them, and heads are blowing off and people are,
And a lot of this movie too is like an 80s teen sex movie. I mean, it's what it looks like.
Yeah.
The women in this are goddamn boys. They have some of the hottest fucking women in this movie. One of the female leads, what was her name?
I can't wait to talk about this woman. Talking about the bartender?
Yeah, Buxton, I think was her name. Sarah Buxton, who, God almighty, man. Like her and the girl from the biker gang, both. I was like,
yeah,
Jesus Christ. These are some hot girls. But so this time.
Oh, sorry. She is. The Sarah Buxton she's the bartender that plays like a love interest. She is great looking. She acts like she doesn't even know what the hell's going on at all.
She probably don't.
She acts like they just pushed her in front of a camera and then screamed at her, and she had to say like a line all through this movie.
She does look like a deer in the headlights, but I think that's why I like her so.
She's just like
the girls though, and it's just the time period, the string bikinis, the colors, the hair. I just love shit from this time period. Like this was spring break of 1988, I think, is when they filmed this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I just love the look from that time frame. Like I said, the 80s hairstyles, wet t-shirt contests, and
Did you
rock
like
music.
the soundtrack? Sounds like one of those Joe Satriani guitar tutorial videos you'd get back in the day. Like that's the soundtrack is like,
Yeah.
especially the theme of the when the killer shows up. Like they'll play like just like just somebody fucking doing a solo guitar.
Well, there's one part that I thought sounded way too familiar, and I looked it up, and it's an exact piece that they used in the Demons movie as well. They reused it.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't speaking of that, didn't know what's his name have something to do with this soundtrack? Simonetti?
Claudia Simonetti from a
Yeah, he
Goblin.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's nothing like his other sound. It doesn't sound anything near as good as any of the other Goblin soundtracks, but I mean, it's very guitar heavy. Mostly that's it, and not very good. It's just a bunch of really kind of lame guitar solo licks that go on forever.
The production value on this is actually really good too, though. Like, the transfer on the Blu-ray was pretty outstanding, and then Kino's doing a 4K of it as well.
Yep.
So I don't know what kind of budget they had for this, but it actually looked really, really great. As a matter of fact, like it was 1989, but like you were saying, this totally could pulled off like a 1985, 86.
When I saw that it was made in 1989, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like it looks like the early 80s for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we hadn't even talked about the fact that like really the plot of the movie is following like these two spring break kids that
Trying
come
to get
in.
them some pussy, baby.
Yeah, that's basically the whole. That's basically
what they want.
All they're doing. And they're football players, I think, and they get caught up with that gang, that bicycle gang. One of them gets killed, and they think it's the gang, but it's actually the guy running around like killing everybody. And then the rest of the movie is just the friend trying to figure out what happened to him and like solve this mystery of whoever this person is, with the help of Sarah Buxton, who's like a bartender that just with a heart of gold, I guess. That
I think that as the deaths pile up, though, the authorities are just trying to cover it up because it'll fuck with the spring break money that they'll get.
Yeah, well, the coroner is for sure. So is the sheriff, because he's like, shut up, God damn it, don't talk about it. John Saxon.
You're going to get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry your friend's buried in the fucking sand.
He did say that.
Get out of here.
He said something to him like when he finds his friend finally, and he's like buried in all this sand. He's like, you get over there and you put more dirt on that and shut up. Get out of here.
You cover up his burned head and shut up.
Hey, your ass gonna be in there with him, dummy. Get out of here.
So, yeah, dude, like, I want to be honest with you guys. I loved this fucking movie. I loved it. Like, I could not believe that I had never seen this before. It's just my type of movie. It's hokey. It's got gory, like, death sequences and some creative death sequences. It's got some hot girls from the mid to late 80s. Just the look of it too, man. It just looks like that from that era of movies that I loved.
Yeah.
Now the unveil of who the killer is at the end, we can kind of talk about that.
You figure that out by about the first 10 minutes of the movie. Yeah.
But that's very fucking weak. That's extremely weak. I will say that. That's like, oh God. Okay.
Yeah. I was like thinking, that's just way too obvious at the beginning of the movie. I was giving them more credit than what they really deserved. And then it turns out to be exactly who you would think it is. And you're just like, that is kind of lame. But you're right though. The biggest thing that this movie has over like Slaughterhouse is the death scenes, because the death scenes in this one are actually pay off. Like every single one of them, there's some sort of practical effect where somebody like melts or explodes, or like it's just very violent, very gory. So like
over the top.
Yeah, over the top, sure. Like Stallone.
Italiano style. Now, as much as I love this movie though, I think there are reasons that people don't know what the hell this movie is. Marketing purposes is the big thing. For one thing, Nightmare Beach is a shitty fucking name for a movie.
It's horrible.
They
Because
could
it
come
just
up.
doesn't distinguish it from any other movie. There's a million movies that have Nightmare in the title. Nightmare Weekend
Right.
and Nightmare Alley, Nightmare fucking on Elm Street. Like Nightmare Beach tells you nothing.
No, and it really has nothing to do with the movie at all. Like, Welcome to Spring Break is kind of a shitty name too, but at least it made sense. Like, they could have done something like Spring Break Slaughter or something like that people would have been like more had an idea of what, they were going to see. Plus the artwork, man, I'm not like, you showed off here's the alternate artwork. There's two different ones. Neither one of these are really that great. I mean, this one might be a tad better than the other one, but not by much.
And I mean, the killer, that killer has been done at least 4 times that I know of in other movies. The bicycle, leather killer.
Mhm.
Like, that look has been done several times before this movie even came out. So it's like, yeah, I mean, that's not really original whatsoever.
I did, though, and I wanted to throw this in there because I thought of this immediately when I started watching this movie. And if they could have paid for, which we did, we're paying for it tonight, so I can show you guys my updated version of, or at least the beginning of the updated trailer that I edited together, and see if you guys don't think this one works better. Now, I kept the original Nightmare Beach name, but I did change the music. See what you think of this, Uncle Bill. All right, I guess I
don't know why that's so killer. Like him just putting a gun in his mouth. That's all. It's like, what? It's so upbeat. Them finding that body and that music.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Had they only done that was the trailer, man. People would have been all hot.
I would have watched that movie in a heartbeat, yeah. With that music.
Oh, but, man, like this, Nightmare Beach gets the highest of recommendations for me. If you've never seen it, 80s I mean, it's a different sort of slash. It's like a teen sex comedy from the 80s mixed with an 80s slasher, mixed with an Italian gore movie. Yeah.
I can't remember, but I don't think anybody actually gets slashed in this movie, do they? They either get burnt or like just blown up, or it's like usually electrical wires, fire. He's got something on the back of his motorcycle that's like fucking something out of shocker or something like that. There's one scene, man, that cracked me up though, where like, I don't know what was going on, but like it was the one where he electrocutes the girl with that wire, and like sparks are coming out, but it looks like it's out of fucking Disney,
like they
cartoon.
drew them on there or something.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
like an overlay, like they did, like a Disney, like they did,
That's how they had to do that shit back then.
Oh,
but yeah, Kino has this out. I think it came out this past week, oddly enough, in 4K, which is pretty hilarious that this is out in 4K. But the cinematography and everything, man, that Blu-ray looked fucking great.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, the Blu-ray's fine. Like I would just, I don't.
What if you
need a 4K?
Want to take it to the next level though and get the 4K?
I mean, yes, you could, but I don't really see the purpose in this one.
McCore is asking, how many times a year do y'all revisit Nightmare Beach? Well, this is the first time that I'd ever seen it.
I've never seen it, up until now.
Yeah. So, will I revisit it again? Yes. I can guarantee you that. And, due to reasons like we talked about before, I mean, the fact that the promotion behind it was not the best. The name's not the best. Were they a little bit more creative with it, I think more people would know about it.
Yeah, there's just something really like I said, when I would look at it, it was on sale forever on the Kino sale. Like it would come up every single time. And I finally bought it because people recommended it out the ass. But I'm like, if you just looked at it and even read the back, it just isn't, there's nothing really appealing that stands out about it. But it's not the movie that you think it is, like at all.
No.
Like it is like you said.
It's a lot of fun. It's hokey. Again, and somebody mentioned Nerds in Paradise. That's where that song came from. And that's what I thought of immediately when I started watching this movie, because the same styles, like the string bikinis and the 80s hair and stuff like that.
When they had the titty contest, right? Like I was like, that's exactly like one of those movies. I mean, that's exactly what happened in those like teen comedies in the 80s. Like when they went to the beach, there would always be a scene like that. And that goes on for like 10, 15 minutes in this movie. And I'm just like
constantly like it. And visually it looks like the same movie almost. Like you could edit them back and forth together and you probably wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I could totally, Dick Fitzwell saying this used to run on USA Up All Night back in the day. Yeah, it's a perfect fit for that. No doubt.
Yep.
And it reminds me also of another movie that, I don't know if a lot of people have seen. It's called Spring Break USA is what I saw. It used to play on HBO all the time. And stars, do you remember the porn star Janine?
No.
From back in the day. She dated Bret Michaels and I think Vince Neil. And there's like a sex tape of them. That's what she's famous for. But this was before she was in that shit. She was like trying to be a legit actress. And the whole plot of the movie, and this is the whole plot, is this nerdy dude gets her drunk a little bit and she's wanting some bird, but he has to go find her a bottle of Dom Perignon. She needs some of that to get that coochie ready. And this is just, the rest of the movie is him getting so close to that bottle of Dom Perignon, but no.
Yeah. I mean, that's a typical kind of plot.
That's a Kino release. That's perfect for Kino. I would love to see that. I don't think it ever got a DVD release or anything. Janine Linden Mulder.
Yeah. She's like somebody was saying, she's the one on the Blink-182 album cover with the glove and everything.
Right.
For anybody.
Yeah, she become pretty famous, actually. Rhonda Shear's not dead from Up All Night. Unless she died today.
That would be awful.
I thought somebody posted something about her doing like a revival of that show. But anyway.
If she's still alive, I hope she does, because like that show back in the day was killer.
Yeah. Yeah, she is covered in tattoos now. But yeah, this was late 80s. Late 80s.
What's weird about these two movies, though, is that like we don't really converse about these movies. Not like in terms of like we want to put a theme together or anything like that, but we just pick like whatever movie we kind of come upon, the slasher film that we want to do that we haven't done before. But for some reason, these two really fit together because they're both essentially like goofy, just
Like
really
dark
goofy,
comedy
dark, yeah.
sort of movies. And I man, if there's other movies like Nightmare Beach that's similar, like I would definitely be interested because I think that this was a subgenre in horror that they could have done in the late 80s that may have saved slasher movies a little bit. Because you don't see it. You don't see
Yeah.
the spring break beach slasher movie. I don't know of anybody else that really did that in that time frame and everything. So unfortunately this may be one of the only ones.
Yeah.
But I had fun with it.
Yeah, I did too. I had fun with both these movies. I mean, they're easy to watch. Like they're not. You can be doing anything and watch these movies and keep up with what's going on. Like there's not a plot that's like really difficult to keep up with at all.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I highly recommend them. Also,
It's also known as Lauderdale. I have the VHS of Lauderdale.
is it known as that?
It's known as that. It's known as
Yeah.
Spring Break USA. I would think if they ever release it on anything, they would release it as Spring Break USA, but I may be wrong.
I hope they don't say Lauderdale. That's a horrible fucking name for a movie. You don't know what the hell's going on.
Lauderdale was the VHS of it. I have that one on VHS.
Also, too, though, briefly, like a callback to our last show is that Amazon had a sale on Amazon Prime, and I actually picked up. I don't know if you picked it up too, but I picked up Night School for $13.99. That was like the cheapest I've ever seen it during that Prime sale.
Yeah, they had a lot of Warner Archive stuff for pretty good prices.
Yeah, I don't know how good that Blu-ray will be, and I was gonna wait, but I thought, fuck, man, $13, like,
Yeah,
that's a great movie too, to me.
yeah. No, it was a good price because normally it's at least what, 17 or 18 bucks.
I think it went back up to that now. Yeah.
So I guess we'll talk about what we're going to be doing next week on week 6. And this is going to be interesting too because these are 2 more movies that I have never seen, Uncle Bill. Now, one is the one that I picked is kind of infamous because another movie that came out 3 years later was a gigantic success. It had a similar plot to this. And this is one that Arrow Video had re-released that was pretty much impossible to find, to watch up until they released the Blu-ray of it. And it's early 80s slasher, 1981, The Slayer.
Fuck. I'm trying to remember what the fuck I picked.
Here, I'll go ahead and put it on the screen.
Put it up. Oh, fuck. Oh. Okay. So, yeah, like one that I hadn't ever seen until about a year ago, but is basically one of the funniest direct ripoffs of Halloween in every way possible, but like severely goofier than that movie is Offerings. And it doesn't get much cheesier than that movie. I can't wait for if you've never seen that, by the way.
I don't think so, no, unless I completely just forgot about it. I don't think
that's another one, man, where you won't even believe it. Like when you watch it, like you won't believe what they got away with in that movie in terms of ripping off Halloween. Like I laughed my ass off through it because of how the music, the guy, the death scenes, like but it's also so incompetent and they're trying to rip off it, but they like it would be as if like, you know, us, like we tried to remake Halloween when we were like 20 or something like that. Like it just would, that's how it would come off.
Also, I'm going to end tonight's poll though. We had 91 votes. Slaughterhouse wins. It's 56% to Nightmare Beach's 44%. So a little bit closer. At least it wasn't a total blowout. But what else do we got planned coming up, Uncle Bill? Anything that you wanted to mention? Well, I know we got some reviews coming up.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a bunch of that coming up. And you know, when the Severin and Vinegar Syndrome stuff and all that gets there, I mean, eventually we're going to talk about that stuff. I haven't gotten anything from either one of those companies, like a shipping notification or any kind of thing like that. Either. So who knows?
I think we're planning on doing a massive Hallomania since there's going to be a lot of sales stuff that's going to be coming in. And, I was talking to Garrett about it because it's been a while since we've done one of those. So that might be coming up here in the next few weeks whenever everybody gets all of their shit. So yeah, I guess that is it. We appreciate everybody, tuning in and everything. Some reviews and stuff we got coming up though too. Curse the Cat People, that'll be coming up sometime this week on there. And I think I'm gonna be doing a comparison of the Madman 4Ks that'll be coming up this week too. And you've got some stuff. You've got one review that we've waited a little while, but we're finally gonna put it up because we didn't realize it didn't come out until the end of this month.
I don't even want to say the name of it, to be honest. But it's the legitimate name of the movie, Crippled Masters. So
yeah, so
well, you talk about a movie that blow you away in terms of shit you've never seen. That's definitely it.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that. I was like, God damn, Uncle Bill loved this shit.
I actually kind of did, yeah. But I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. The people are talking about like, what are we picking up and stuff. Man, I've got a ton of stuff on pre-order. I don't even know what the shit is anymore. Like I know, for example, like Bruiser's coming in. I'm supposed to have Bruiser by this week.
Bruiser.
And then you've got Your Next from Second Sight's coming in. And then all that Severin stuff, all that Vinegar Syndrome stuff. What was the other one? There's another big one too.
You've got some review stuff to pick up over here.
Yeah, the Hitcher's coming out.
Quite a bit of shit actually. So yeah, we're gonna have plenty of reviews. Like I don't know if people realize on the YouTube page we have a movie review playlist, and we've got like 600 movies on there. So and they're growing by the week too. Like there's more and more added each week. So it's an archive for sure of that. So, but yeah, I mean, thanks again, everybody. 10,000 subscribers. Like we said, hopefully 20,000 is not going to be too awful far. At least it won't take 15 years or whatever the hell it was for the next one. Hopefully not. I hope not.
Thanks, maybe, possibly.
It might. Hey, thank you for 20,000, Sonny.
Be pissing out of a catheter by the time we get to 20K.
But yeah, big thanks again, and we will catch you guys next week. Next time, whenever that is. We'll probably do something else this week. Who knows? You know how we are. Over at DEADPIT.com. Give us the thumbs up.
Up you butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a fuck.
I want you to. I don't care. Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. Click that bell.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit Radio shirts. You can get Last South on the Left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Dead Pit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows, fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.